Why do we procrastinate? Have you ever wondered why some tasks seem too daunting to even start? Procrastination is a common yet puzzling phenomenon. It's a persistent habit that can hamper productivity and cause undue stress. From finishing that important work project to sending a simple email or even going for a morning run, some tasks can feel like climbing a mountain. The simplest solution? We tend to put these tasks off until later, often to the point of never completing them at all. But what exactly fuels this tendency to procrastinate? Understanding why we procrastinate is the first step in overcoming this habit. It's not just about time management or lack of motivation. It's a complex issue that's deeply rooted in our psychology and emotions. Now let's dig deeper into the psychological reasons behind procrastination. Procrastination is not about laziness, it's about avoidance. But what exactly are we trying to avoid? Fushia Siroi, a professor of psychology at the University of Durham, deciphers procrastination as an act of evasion. Interestingly, it's not the task itself that we're dodging. Instead, it's the emotions attached to the task that make us recoil. So it's not just about completing a difficult assignment or sending that important email. It's about the feelings these tasks evoke in us. Let's take a common scenario, starting a college essay. The task seems simple enough, but it often brings up feelings of self-doubt. The broad question or topic to write about, the lack of clear instructions, can trigger a fear of not getting it right, or worse, the consequences of getting it wrong. The anticipation of these negative emotions can make the task feel like a mountain too high to climb. Sirua further explains procrastination as a specific form of delay that's both unnecessary and voluntary. It's not about needing to prioritize other tasks or dealing with unforeseen emergencies. It's about postponing tasks that we know are important or valuable, despite knowing that this delay could be harmful to us or others. In essence, chronic procrastinators struggle with managing and regulating their emotions. They are often overwhelmed by the fear of failure, the anxiety of perfection, or the discomfort of stepping out of their comfort zone. These emotional roadblocks cause them to defer tasks, pushing them into the future where they seem less threatening. A key note here is that procrastination isn't just about delaying tasks. It's about delaying tasks that matter. It's about delaying tasks that have a significant impact on our lives or the lives of others. It's about delaying tasks that we know we should be doing, but for one reason or another, we choose to put off. So the emotions we attach to tasks play a significant role in procrastination, but there's more to it. Did you know your brain structure might be influencing your tendency to procrastinate? It turns out, our brains play a significant role in why we put things off. Let's dive into some fascinating research that reveals the neurological basis of procrastination. In 2021, a brain imaging study conducted by Professor Fushia Siroi and her team unveiled a fascinating link between the volume of gray matter in the left dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and procrastination. This region of the brain is associated with self-control. The students who had a higher volume of gray matter in this region were less prone to procrastination. This discovery suggests that our ability to delay gratification and stick with tasks is, to some extent, influenced by the structure of our brains. But it's not just about the gray matter volume. The study also found that the more neural connections there were between the left dorsolateral prefrontal cortex and the frontal regions of the brain, the better the students were at regulating negative emotions and focusing on long-term benefits. On the other hand, those with fewer neural connections between these areas were more prone to procrastination, even at the cost of future rewards. This brings us to another crucial part of the brain involved in procrastination, the amygdala. A 2018 study showed that people who procrastinate tend to have a larger and more sensitive amygdala, the brain's threat detection center. Even a tiny perceived threat, like how to word an email, could cause significant discomfort, prompting the urge to avoid the task altogether. The fewer the connections between the amygdala and the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, which determines our reaction to perceived threats, the more likely we are to procrastinate. So, the structure and function of our brain contribute to procrastination. However, it's not just about biology. Our environment and the way we perceive and react to it also play a crucial role in our tendency to delay tasks. But that's a topic for our next scene. Our genes and environment also play a role in shaping our procrastination habits. Let's delve into the genetic aspect first. Research suggests that there's a link between procrastination and impulsivity on a genetic level. Yes, you heard that right. Your tendency to delay tasks could be hardwired into your DNA. This implies that procrastination might be a heritable trait. So, if you have a habit of delaying tasks, a part of the blame might be on your genes. But here's the good news. Even though there might be some genetic underpinnings, it doesn't mean you're doomed to be a lifelong procrastinator. Genetics isn't destiny. It's not an ironclad sentence that determines who you are and how you behave. As Fushia Siroe aptly put it, that doesn't mean you're stuck and that's who you are. Now let's turn our attention to the role of environmental factors. Our surroundings, our upbringing, social influences, and our experiences. All these environmental factors can significantly shape our response to aversive tasks. Let's illustrate this with an example. Suppose you grew up in an environment where delaying tasks was a common practice. It's likely that you too may develop this habit. Or if you've had experiences where delay has led to negative consequences, you might be more prone to procrastinate in the future. Additionally, environmental stressors can also trigger procrastination. High-stress environments can make tasks seem more aversive, leading us to avoid them. On the other hand, a supportive, low-stress environment can help us tackle tasks head-on, reducing the likelihood of procrastination. In sum, our procrastination habits are not just a product of our emotions or brain structure. They're also a reflection of our genes and the environment we live in. These findings underscore the complexity of procrastination. It's not just about laziness or poor time management. It's a complex interplay between our emotions, brain structure, genes, and environment. Understanding this complexity is the first step towards overcoming procrastination. So, procrastination is a complex interplay between our emotions, brain structure, genes, and environment. So, why do we procrastinate? It's not a straightforward answer, is it? This question has taken us on a journey through the labyrinth of human psychology, neurology, and even genetics. We began by understanding that procrastination is not about laziness or a lack of discipline. Rather, it's about avoidance. More specifically, it's about avoiding the uncomfortable emotions that certain tasks evoke within us. Whether it's self-doubt, fear of failure, or simply the discomfort of tackling a complex problem, these emotions can make us recoil from tasks, leading us to delay or avoid them altogether. Procrastination, then, is a form of emotional self-regulation, albeit an unhealthy one. But what makes some people more prone to procrastination than others? Our exploration of the human brain provided some answers. Brain imaging studies have found that the volume and connectivity of certain brain regions can influence our propensity to procrastinate. Those with a higher volume of gray matter in the left dorsolateral prefrontal cortex, a region associated with self-control, were found to be less prone to procrastination. The more connections between this part of the brain and the frontal regions, which are responsible for regulating negative emotions and focusing on long-term benefits, the less likely a person is to procrastinate. On the flip side, those with a larger, more sensitive amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, were more likely to procrastinate. The amygdala can make a mountain out of a molehill, turning a small task into a big, scary threat. The fewer connections between the amygdala and the dorsal anterior cingulate cortex, which helps us react to perceived threats, the more likely a person is to put things off. We also learned that genetics can play a role in procrastination. Like other personality traits, procrastination may be, to some extent, heritable. However, this doesn't mean that if you're a chronic procrastinator, you're doomed to remain one. Genes are not destiny, and environmental factors are just as important in shaping our behavior. Understanding the emotional, neurological, and genetic factors that contribute to procrastination can help us devise strategies to overcome it. If we know that we're procrastinating to avoid uncomfortable emotions, we can try to address those emotions directly, perhaps through therapy or mindfulness practices. If we understand that our brains are wired in a certain way, we can seek to rewire them through cognitive behavioral interventions. And if we recognize the role of our environment in shaping our behavior, we can try to create an environment that supports productivity and discourages procrastination. In the end, it's all about understanding ourselves better. The more we understand about why we behave the way we do, the better equipped we are to change those behaviors that don't serve us. Remember, understanding why we procrastinate is the first step towards overcoming it. So next time you find yourself avoiding a task, take a moment to understand why.